Hello, everyone. I'm Dale.
And I'm Britt.
And this is A Toast to the Atypical, podcast where shit gets weird.
Yeah, welcome to a day in the life.
So the point of our podcast here is, obviously in the name, to talk about things that are atypical or a little bit different. So conspiracy theories are kind of how we got into it originally, because we love conspiracies and all the weird stuff there. But I think we're going to talk a little bit about conspiracy theories. We're going to get into maybe movie theories.
We started off with the idea of conspiracy theories, and then we didn't really want to pigeonhole ourselves into just one category. So we're like, well, what else kind of fits in with that might work? So we talked about like movie universe theories and, like the hidden Easter eggs that are in different movies, like paranormal and supernatural things, like folklore and like mythical creatures, extraterrestrial, obviously, Mandela effects, the Bermuda Triangle, like weird celebrity deaths that are like very suspicious circumstances that have never really been totally cleared up, government conspiracies and cover-ups, urban legends. But yeah, anything in that vein pretty much is how we are going to structure this. But I think this all kind of came to be because, we're married, been married 7 years, have 2 kids, and, a lot of our life revolves around the 2 boys, and we were kind of looking for something that doesn't directly relate to.
I mean, they're weird. They might fit into the extraterrestrial phase here.
On either of them, but just something that doesn't directly pertain to them. That was just something a little fun, a little out of the box, get people thinking, get ourselves thinking, and
just a disclaimer on that. Have fun with it. Exactly. Yeah. The disclaimer is we're going to be talking about a lot of weird stuff.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean we believe in it. It doesn't mean we don't believe in it, but
there's enough evidence out there that it's worth.
It's fun to think about the stuff,
and it's just interesting to see how other people put pieces of puzzles together that we didn't even know were puzzles.
Yeah.
So like, there's definitely topics that we have been like, what?
We have a list of very interesting topics.
Even begin to think that was a possibility, and then you kind of go down the rabbit hole and you see just all of the things that fall into place with what these people have decided is true. And it's just really, it's hard to look away in some cases, even though it might be the most outrageous thing you've ever heard.
And we're not going to go, we'll probably touch on some of the bigger ones, like the moon landing conspiracy and like JFK. Yeah, we'll talk about some stuff with that. But the real interesting things, at least I think, are the ones that are just I've never heard of. There's a couple of them that, and we're doing research, so the internet's going to have some stuff out there. Obviously, whatever's on the internet's not necessarily true, but
Reddit and Wikipedia.
So we're trying to figure out exactly the best way to explain this. So the goal really is to kind of go over the conspiracy theories, what our thoughts are about it, or conspiracy theories, all of it really, the movie theater theories, everything, and then pitch it to you guys and let you. We have which I'll put it in the description link on the YouTube page. It'll be on our Instagram page, and you'll see all that in the bottom of the video here. But we want you to reach out to us. And if you believe strongly in any of these, or you have information on them, or we would love to have you on as a guest too. We can definitely have guests here. That's the goal, is to have some people who have some in-depth ideas or information about these things. And if
you have anything to like comment or contribute to something we've already done, or maybe you have like a follow-up bit of information, we'd love to hear that too. We have email, we have a phone number that we'll include. But we're open to any and all things. And if you've got suggestions or things that you want to hear us talk about, or things that you think are interesting that you want to just learn more about, we're way
let us do the research.
Yeah, we'll do it for you. We'll do all the heavy lifting.
And the big thing about, I mean, part of our name, sorry, not to cut you off, but part of the name is obviously a toast to the atypical. That's
where I was going.
There you go. A toast to the atypical, because it's cool. It's cool to talk. Like, everybody's stuck in this box, and you see so much everywhere. And we're like, one thing we're really, really going to try to stay away from is any sort of politics. But I mean, a lot of that is involved in some of these conspiracy theories.
But I don't think it's so much political in like left versus right, Republican versus Democrat. Like, we're not going to impose our own beliefs or feelings in it, but there are some government cover-up, conspiracy, 9/11. There's some things out there, and we're going to present the information and do it in a way that allows you all to just kind of come to your own conclusion, or, you know, reach out to us with anything that you think that debunks it or supports it. But our main goal is to just like put additional information out there, make it a little more accessible to people who might not otherwise have come across this information. But yeah, the toast to the atypical, I think, you know, we kind of were like, okay, how do we make this a little more fun without just being like dry, boring, like Googling?
And alcohol makes everything fun. Is that what you're saying?
Well, no, I just think that, you know, treat it as if like you're hanging around a bar with your buddies and somebody talks about something goofy, and, you know, over a couple of drinks, you guys start talking about whatever to the guy 3 bar stools down that's a little goofy. So part of what we're going to do each week, or at least what we've been talking about and what we'd like to do, is include like a cocktail or a mixed drink or a beer or wine or whatever that goes along with that week's topic.
And drink with us.
Yeah, and you
unless you're driving.
Don't do that. If you're listening in the car after the fact, don't do that. But but it's just, you know, it'll give us something different as far as like what, you know, drinks we haven't had before. Something that
we're
goes
both
along
keeping
with
it pretty simple tonight.
Yeah, today we have leftovers from a concert last night, so that's what we're using.
Incubus concert, which was awesome.
Yes.
No conspiracy behind that. Well, maybe, but I don't know.
I was just going to say, I wonder what kind of band conspiracies there are.
Probably many.
Well, Jay-Z's in the Illuminati. We already know that.
Yeah.
So.
No, maybe Brandon Boyd? What's his name?
Brandon Boyd.
Brandon. Okay, maybe he is too.
Yeah, I don't know.
See, I listen. You said his name. I listen. So the release schedule, I guess let's touch on that. Yeah. We're shooting for Tuesdays.
Yep.
Truth Tuesdays. Ooh, Truth Tuesdays. I like it. So every Tuesday, you'll get an episode from us.
Maybe truth. We don't know.
Maybe, yeah. So every Tuesday you'll get an episode from us, and likely what'll happen if you guys are participating and reaching out to us and things, we'll, in the beginning of the episode, we'll kind of read what your follow-up was from the previous week. And
so we'll have like a little flashback follow-up at the beginning of our Tuesday episode that'll include any emails, text messages, phone calls, anything that you guys send our way about the previous week's episode, and anything that, you know, we think is interesting, and, you know, little shout-outs to whoever's checking it out and supporting us, and we'll make that the first couple of minutes of each week's episode. It's like a little mini recap, and, you know, anything additional that we want to add on.
I mean, hopefully that'll turn into some guests as well, as we were talking about. So hopefully we can bring some of you who are responding to us on, whether that's live or not live, but here with us or call in or whatever. So we can set all that up. But we went over a couple of the things we're going to be going through. Obviously, conspiracy theories, movie theories. I mean, there's a whole world of that stuff with the Marvel universe and Disney stuff. And there's so many things. TV theories too. I just heard something the other day that the Predator movies are the same world as Stranger Things because of a couple names that are referenced in it. So we're gonna. But
it also, like, they're set in the same
time frame.
decade. So I think that's a little
Right.
Yeah, so that's just an idea of like what we're going to talk about and where things could go. There's the whole theory that the Grinch and Jack Skellington are the same person, and that Hercules is Elsa and Anna's baby brother. So like, there's
I didn't hear that one.
Oh, not Hercules. I'm sorry, Tarzan.
Okay, I was going to say, is Hercules a god?
No, yeah. That Tarzan is baby.
Yes,
is the baby brother of Elsa and Anna. There's other worlds and other little universes and things that people have pieced together. That might not be as mainstream knowledge as some others. So, and
some folklore and stuff too. Yeah. I mean, we're from Pennsylvania, Eastern PA. And there's a lot. I mean, the Jersey Devil.
I was just going to say that.
Centralia, Pennsylvania, there's a couple ghost towns in the area. Yeah. There's some stories behind those.
Yep, there's a lot especially in Philadelphia, there's a ton of like ghost and paranormal activity around like certain cemeteries, certain buildings. Yep. But there's definitely different areas of the world, not just Pennsylvania or the United States, that have like higher than normal seismic ratings and higher than normal like feedback on whatever that paranormal activity scale thingy is. You know what I'm talking about, like the radio wave thing. But there's just certain things that just go along with that, like the prison in Philadelphia, Eastern State Penitentiary.
Yeah. Which is wild there. You feel stuff there. Yeah, we've been there.
That place is creepy.
We didn't play hooky.
I totally went to school.
Went to school that day, and then went to the Eastern State Penitentiary.
It wasn't 10 in the morning.
But that place has a heavy feeling in there.
There's a thickness to there. Like, it is.
And it's not just the Pennsylvania humidity.
No. And this was in like October that we went to, so it wasn't even that. But there's like, a bridge where, like, if you put your car in neutral, you feel something push your car off the bridge.
Was that PA?
I don't remember.
PA, Jersey. So it is close.
I think it's nearby because it was like we were talking about going there. Like, we'll talk about. I'm sure we'll talk about Salem, and there's.
Maybe we'll do a ghost hunt.
I love it.
Maybe we can do a ghost hunt episode.
That would be fun.
Ooh, get that on the list. Yeah.
Just strap the camera to our heads.
That'd be fun.
Blair Witch
style. Running through the woods. I mean, there's a ton of paranormal stuff, but there's also like Jersey. There's like
a whole thing about like
time travel
that live in the woods.
Yes. There's a whole town that apparently is a ghost town now, and it's like people who time traveled away from this time.
And we're definitely talking about that sinkhole in China. There's no way.
Yeah, we got to look up that one. That's a new one too. Yep. That's a new one. There's a lot more megalodon stuff out there these days too. So
yes, that new one, Caroline. She's suspicious.
So we'll see.
Yeah.
Mythical topics. I mean, you look at our logo. You gotta talk about Sasquatch at some point. He's a big one. He's a big one. But there's so many. Yeah, pun intended. It's just a little hairy with his situation. There's so many around him, and he is a huge one. I know I just said that we're probably not going to talk too much about the big ones, but there's so many with him that like he's an alien.
But I think that we could do like a cool episode that includes, maybe Bigfoot, Sasquatch, maybe Loch Ness, dragons.
Bigfoot and Sasquatch are the same.
I know. I slipped. Okay. We could talk about Nessie. Like, we could just do one that's kind of your generic.
The Chupacabra, of course.
More commonly known ones. Jeepers creepers.
He lives in our house, actually, the Chupacabra.
Oh.
The little one makes the sounds like that.
18 months old, right?
Yeah.
He's psychotic.
So folklore is going to be in there. Mythical creatures. Extraterrestrials, a must. Absolutely. We both have our computers here, by the way, because we have outlines. But we're also... we'll probably do some fact checking when we're getting into this stuff too. Even though we have our research, if something comes up, right before we started recording, we had something come up in conversation that we fact checked real quick, and I was wrong. I
love that's wrong. Permanently captured.
Delete.
I do the editing.
So yeah, we're talking about all that stuff, but also just strange ways of thinking.
Yeah.
I mean, the internal, what's it called? Internal,
Like internal dialogue.
Yeah, internal dialogue. Apparently, some people don't have that. I do. I can hear myself think if I want to, and some people don't. Some people don't.
Some people also have no mind's eye. So, like, if you were to say, you know, close your eyes and picture
this,
a red elephant. Some people cannot do that.
Yeah.
I very, very rarely dream because of that. I don't ever really like see anything or remember my dreams. But I also have this weird like borderline photographic memory. I don't know if that's actually the term for it, but like I can remember exactly where things are just from like walking past it one time. And you might ask me like, hey, where's those red tweezers? And I like remember exactly where I walked past them. And I have like that very vivid memory, even though it's not actually a picture in my brain. Yeah. So there's like different things that just people process things differently, and, you know, ADHD and like neurodivergent and atypical brain processes that are pretty cool to just kind of know that some people just think or feel or process differently than others is interesting to me too.
Yeah. So any sort of different style of thinking, from flat Earth to whether it's some sort of actual brain process, it would definitely be interesting. And again, that those types of topics, I mean,
and if you're somebody who experiences either of those things, like, please,
or is a professional in the subject, if you,
absolutely. We'd love to hear more. And if, you know, if we say something that's not legitimate, like we said, you know, most of our
there's going to be a lot of that. I make up 90% of the things I say.
Yeah, I know that. But no, if we say something that, you know, we did conclude from research or from our own digging that's, you know, maybe not quite the right thing, and you have the information, like, please correct us. We want to make sure that what's getting out there is legitimate. Like Dale said, 90% of what we're going to be doing is coming from the internet and, you know, our own digging, and what you get on the internet is not always.
It's not always true. Perfect. Even if you find it on Facebook. I thought Facebook was
that could be a whole week's worth.
100% fact checked. I thought. Let's see. So, I mean, I don't think we want to get into any specific theories right now.
No, this is just to kind of.
What is like, your? Yeah, I mean, this is our intro, so you guys kind of know exactly what we're talking about. Mandela effect. Oh, Mandela effects.
We have gone hours down the internet rabbit hole with
scary stuff.
With
and you know what makes
Mandela
it worse?
Effects.
You know what makes all this worse? TikTok.
Yeah. Well, I think that's part of where this all came from too, was like we were sending each other TikToks of like, you know, those Disney theories or conspiracies or like things that just didn't add up, that weren't, you know, like the normal mainstream way of thinking. And we kind of were like, dude, this is so interesting. And, you know, something as simple and goofy and useless as the Bernstein Bears versus the Bernstein Bears.
I still don't know. I
still
can't believe that one. It's the Berenstain Bears, right? Is that how it's spelled? Berenstain Bears. Bernstein Bears, yeah.
Right. And, you know, like those are a little more commonly known.
Is it Sex in the City or Sex and the City?
And.
Is it?
It is.
I don't know. Look it up.
I think it's and.
Look it up.
So
fact
like
check
things
it.
like that where you have to think about it. Like, does Curious George have a tail?
No. He doesn't.
No, he doesn't, but he's a monkey.
He's a monkey and he should. But the only reason I know that he doesn't because I thought he did is because I did this TikTok thing. Yeah.
Like, what color is Tony the Tiger's nose?
Blue.
Yeah.
Is it blue?
Why?
Good guess. I don't know.
I think it's blue. But there's like a whole thing that people think it's pink.
But I mean, because it probably should be.
Exactly.
And that gets us into a whole different theory.
What's that?
The simulation theory.
Oh, yeah.
Which will be like, that's going to be a deep episode. That'll be a deep dive.
Mandela effects, like we'll talk about the whole idea behind it and where the name Mandela effect actually comes from and how this whole, you know, how the whole theory came to be. But yeah, there's definitely, there's a lot out there. And then there's a lot of really weird stuff. And there's a lot of really cool things and just stuff that makes you think a little differently. Yeah.
So tell us your why.
I already said my why.
Yeah, but I mean, I know we're doing the podcast because we enjoy this stuff, but I don't know, maybe I enjoy it more than others. But it's just so, the depth that you can get in on something. The one theory that I looked into, and if you look at the outline for that episode, it started out as a very light outline, and it's like 5 pages long because of the stuff that I've read on their website. And they tie in, and I'm saying they generically because of this group of individuals that believes what I'm talking about. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
I didn't initially, but
I'm
picking up what you're putting
down. A little birdie
now.
told me about this theory, but they rope everything in, from the moon landing to JFK to chemtrails it's vaccines. They rope everything into this theory. And if you
enough to down to like the radio antennas in your car, it's wild. And it just makes you it's like this whole Big Brother feeling of like, how much is legitimate, how much of these people are like tinfoil hat wearing lunatics, and like, how much should I actually be worried? Like, we always say, like, we have smart devices in our house. Like, we have a smart TV, we have a Google Home, we both have smartphones, we have computers that have, webcam and microphone capabilities. We both have those Bluetooth headphones. Like, we're doing something like this. Like, I always joke that if the government wants to spy on me,
let them spy.
90% of what we talk about in our house is like,
poopy diapers.
Yeah, how many times did Owen poop today? And like,
stinky farts.
What are the dogs doing, and why do they smell like that?
Why'd the dog throw up on the couch?
So like, if you really want to tap my phone,
where'd the wet spot on the couch come from? Like, it's
like, you've got bigger fish to fry there in the government. So like, that doesn't bother me. But then you get into some of these theories and you kind of start to question, okay, well, if they do have access, which, like, let's be honest, they probably do. What reason would they have to not look at us or anybody for any reason ever? And then it does make you suspicious, and it just challenges the normal day-to-day thinking. Yeah. Which I think is cool. And I think that's healthy. And I think, we always talk about how some of our best friends are people who think way differently than us on a lot of things. And I think that being able to have that healthy conversation and do it in a way that's productive and respectful and educational without being like confrontational or demeaning is hugely important. So I think that's a lot of my why, is like why I wanted to bring this, because there are people out there who think differently than I do, and that's what makes the world go round, and that's good by me. Right. And I always appreciate any type of conversation that heads that way, that challenges what I might think or believe or want to believe. Right. So, if we can be that for somebody else or whatever.
Yeah, and
that's cool.
And as far as the challenging thing goes, we are going to challenge the way people think, I think, with this by bringing up some of these. And a lot of the theories, at least that I have on my list of episodes I'd like to do, rope things like religion in, and really where like the basis of things come from. And again, it's not that we believe or disbelieve either, but it challenges you to think that, okay, if you're a believer in the Bible, maybe the Bible story is true, but not in the fashion that you think it is.
Well, yeah, and then that also ties in the question of like, how many times has it been translated, and how much is lost in that translation.
Right. So we're not trying to offend anybody. I just want to throw that out there. Not trying to offend anybody, but I think it's just one of those things that you have to challenge the way that you think, and that's a lot of these. Some of these are going to come off just as being just totally crazy And that's perfectly fine.
That's okay too, because there are people out there who believe them. And if it is something that
you got to believe in something
absolutely crazy to you, that's fine too. Like if you don't believe it, that's your prerogative. And if you do believe it, that's your prerogative. We're not here to judge it. And, you know, we're going to do our best to not be too judgmental, which I have no poker face. So if I don't believe it, that is not to say that you are a lunatic for believing it. It's just, I have no filter. So if I don't believe it, you're going to know that I don't believe it. And if I feel strongly about it, you'll know that too. But that's not to discredit anybody who feels the opposite that I or we do. And we will probably disagree on more than one thing.
I've never disagreed. But what's that?
Nothing.
I'll check back on that audio.
No, I mean, there's definitely going to be things that you and I disagree with. And there's going to be things that, you know, other listeners out there are going to disagree with. And that's okay.
That's good. That's why we want to do this. Exactly. That's good. I think the kind of the subliminal message of all of this is like, it's good to have differing opinions.
Yes.
And it's good to be able to sit and talk about it, whether it's a crazy idea or not. Like, you have to have an open mind to some things, whether it's for entertainment or truth or belief or whatever. But I think that's part of this too, is really kind of just pushing people and urging people to think outside of their current mindset, really outside of the box. I mean,
and I think that certain things have just become so like mainstream and so widely accepted as like,
we're talking very generic right now, but
we are. Yeah. But there are some things that are going to be a lot more specific, but they're like, even just the same as like the major holidays that are celebrated in the US, like that all tends to fall like very much under the Catholic calendar umbrella. Whereas, you know, if any other religion had pushed for like one, you know, huge holiday or whatever, it would just be like, oh, why are they changing the holidays? Like nobody's looking at it from the perspective of like Christmas Day being like this day that everybody has off, because Christianity and Catholicism has always been kind of the number one
basis. Yeah.
Right. So, you know, there's definitely things that, you know, we'll just encourage you to think a little bit differently. And, you know, the things that we've just accepted as the norm for years and years and years, because it's the way it's always been done, doesn't necessarily mean that it's right or wrong or that we agree or disagree with it, but kind of understanding the background of where some of these things come from lets you form your own opinion on whether you want to support it in the same way you always have, or challenge your own way of thinking, or the way that your family utilizes that. So, and again, what works for our house doesn't work for everybody's, and we understand that. So,
another disclaimer. Another disclaimer. Yeah, no, I think you're dead on with that. And we're being very generic right now, because I don't want to give away too much, because we do have an entire list already.
And that reminds me. So, like, we have a list that we have with each other, and then when we choose to do an episode, I think we're going to do our own individual research and come up with our own sources and outlines. And then we're going to have a very organic conversation, like leading up to that. I don't know that we're really going to have much of a conversation until we start the recording, just to really give this our raw feelings on it. And, you know, if you have the same source that I have on certain things or whatever, we'll just skip it. One of us will talk about it, and we'll kind of pepper things in along the way. But I think for the most part, we're going to try to keep it as like, you know, a conversation at a bar that happens organically as much as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what topic genre are you most looking forward to? And while you're answering that, I'm going to get another beer.
Okay, you can do that. I have such a connection to some of these. Like, I absolutely love Mandela effects, and I don't know why. Like, they're so simple, and you know, sometimes it's just a quick and easy, simple answer, and sometimes like you have to dig and you have to do a little bit of additional research. So, not really knowing what you're getting into when you start with the question of, is Tony the Tiger's nose pink or blue? And then, it might be hours later that you're still digging around on the internet because, everything you thought you knew about the world has just gone up in flames.
Yep.
So I do love Mandela effects. I don't know, as far as an episode, how long it would be or what that would really look like for us. Mm-hmm. But I'm really, I think the one that I am going to probably do I think the one I'll spearhead more than you probably is the suspicious celebrity deaths. I feel like that's going to be my bread and butter. There are so many of them that I've come to you on, years ago, ages ago in conversation, oh my gosh, did you see this video? Did you hear this about that one? And did you see the crime scene photos from this? And how is that even possible? That's not physically, there's so much that just makes you question how certain things were just widely accepted as fact without
much research
there being additional digging or there being all of the information available. And that's more so where I want to really hone in on, is just putting all the information out there, because there's so many things, especially the suspicious celebrity deaths, that there's just information that is not widely known that I think would change people's opinion of a lot of different things. And that's one that's always been cool to me.
Detective Britt will get on that.
I think that's my favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you? Come on, don't cop out and say Bigfoot.
No, I won't. But I am really lately enjoying the ones that mesh multiple categories together. There's been
the theory
a couple.
that Bigfoot's an alien?
Well, no, but that is one of them. That it meshes it together. And again, I think that is a theory in itself.
Yeah.
But, and if you look at our logo, that's what it is. Mm-hmm. But the ones that kind of bring everybody's reality of religion, or whether you're a believer or not, mix it in with mythology. And there's a lot of crossover between religion and Norse mythology and extraterrestrial. And there's a lot of, without getting too in depth, but the question posed is, what if the story of God and the creation of man was not a god, but was an alien?
Because we're a petri dish.
And would that, my question, what I like about that is it's a real question to believers in God that, would that change your faith?
Right.
If it turned out that God was a real thing, but it's an alien, which is what you were taught not to believe.
Exactly. And I think that's really cool to dig into, because, we all have this widely accepted picture of what Jesus Christ looked like. So... and there's no way to know that that's legitimate, which, it's probably not, but that's a whole nother ballgame. But
a whole nother's not a word.
It is. That wasn't even a one word. That was a phrase, BT dubs. And you can shush. But no, that just, would that change? If everything else exactly lined up with the exception of who he is or was, the origin, would that change anything about what you think or feel or
what people believe, right? And that's what I really
cool.
enjoy. Yeah, I think because it really brings the reality of what people believe into not even a question, because if you pose that question of what if God was an alien and actually did create, and the whole creation story is real and all that, it doesn't change what you're believing,
right?
But it changes the basis of what you're believing it on. So I think that's really cool, and I'm looking forward to stuff like that.
So I think what you're saying is like that the core story remains the same.
Everything remains the same, except that God
like,
is an alien. And this is a theory that we're going to get into, and I'm sure this is going to be a pretty controversial one.
So another disclaimer, Dale and I were both raised Catholic. We both went to Catholic school growing up. So there will likely be some influence of that just because that's our
background.
Heavy background. Yeah. That is not to say that that's correct, incorrect.
Right.
We will likely have, both ends of the spectrum on whether we support certain things that the Catholic Church believes or feels or whatever, or we disprove it on our end. And there are certain things that we both believe or don't believe, and we disagree on some things in that same vein. So there will likely be some level of that, again, just because that is the basis of our background. But if you are of another denomination and you want us to feature something that we don't know that either supports that comes from your background,
please tell us.
Whether it's Judaism, Hinduism, I don't care. Anything, everything. If you're an atheist, please come to us. We are happy to talk about it. But for the vast majority of that, we don't have as much experience in that particular topic. So we will try our best not to comment on that because we weren't raised in that vein that we know as much about it. So if you have something that either supports or disproves what we said and it comes from your religion, we'd love to hear from you.
Yeah. So I think that's going to be my favorite side of it here. What else? I mean, I think we kind of touched on pretty much everything as far as what our plans are.
Yeah.
For now.
Yeah, I think so. Like Dale said, we're going to have an Instagram, an email, a YouTube page, and then we also have a phone number. That phone has text, call, and voicemail capabilities.
Yep.
I think it would be cool, like if you have something you want to contribute, you can absolutely text it and we'll read it. Yep. But if you want to leave a voicemail too, if you're comfortable with it, we might be able to play it and just use your direct quote. But yeah, there's going to be lots of ways to get in touch with us. We both have our own individual Facebook pages, and we're happy to take messages on there as well.
But use our a podcast one for most. So the Instagram, and again, this is all going to be in the link below,
right?
And you'll be able to see it everywhere.
I feel like we have like older family members who may not be as Instagram savvy to use that. So if you are one of those people that can't figure out how to get a hold of us on the other avenues, we're more than happy to take the Facebook messages on our personal pages too. It would be easiest to keep it streamlined, but we're open to whatever you've got. Yeah.
So the Instagram is A Toast to the Atypical, all one word. The email is, and again, this is all going to be, it'll probably pop up somewhere on the video, and it's going to be in the link or in the description below. Email is A Toast to the Atypical, number 2, at gmail.com. YouTube, A Toast to the Atypical. The phone number, though, and this is the one that we really would love for you guys to utilize. 267-450-9448. 267-450-9448. So again, call that number, leave messages, shoot text messages, because that would be really cool to get your voice on the podcast, so you can fill us in, let us know if we're doing a decent job, if we're doing a shitty job. Either way. You got anything else?
No, I think we hit it all.
All right. So then look forward to, we'll update our Instagram so you can see when our new episodes are coming out. Like I said, every Tuesday that's going to be, but keep an eye out for that stuff. And I hate doing this, but like the pages, subscribe.
It's where you'll get the most up-to-date information.
Smash the subscribe button.
Don't say that. My favorite are the ones that people who are like, this won't stop. It won't start playing again
until you hit
this. No, I mean, we would love the followers, and we'd love for you to to subscribe, just so we kind of can get an idea of who's interested. Who we can shout out in our next episode. We love the support, and it's the easiest way to get a hold of us and to really get your voice heard, so that we know who to follow up with. And any additional topics, if we use one of your topics, we'll shout you out there too.
Yeah.
So yeah,
that's it. Awesome. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And I guess until next time, a toast to the atypical. Oh, a toast to the atypical. Cheers.